I mean, you look at both of these teams. I think, the Jets are the team that is going to be this rebuilding team. They have a lot of questions at quarterback. They obviously, that defense needs to have a full revolution in my opinion. And the Giants, they have a stepping stone season, I'd say, last year, and now it's kind of for them to take the next step, and they're going to have to use free agency, the draft, to do that. But I do want to start off here with this Jets team because, especially when you're talking about free agency, this team has a ton of cap space. And, if the Johnsons are willing to spend, they could do a lot of damage, I think, especially when you look around the league, and a lot of teams won't be willing to spend. So, Ryan, as a Jets fan, top needs that you feel like they can kind of fill in free agency. It probably won't be the quarterback, but other areas. I mean, this Jets team needs a complete just bulldozing. So you have that $75 million. How do you spend it?
I mean, I think it's easier to start with, let's go over all the positions the Jets would be able to go into the season fine with. Interior defensive line. That's the end of the list. So there are literally holes all over the ball. You have the offense, you have the defense. I think a big need is guard, and a guy they've been linked to throughout the whole time is Joe Thuney. It looks like his time with the Patriots is over. And as you mentioned with the Jets, they are in a great position to get impact guys. They have 70+ million cap space. And also the cap is going down this year. With COVID and the pandemic, teams lost revenue. That hurts the teams that are near the cap because now they have to create more flexibility. But with a team like the Jets, who already had a ton of cap space, they are in the driver's seat because they have an even bigger advantage with that, that kind of pillow of extra space. So I'd like a guard. I could go on forever here, but secondary is a huge need. The corners were getting killed all year. I don't know in free agency if there's any great needs. You might have to look in the draft there, but re-sign Marcus Maye. He's kind of their vocal leader now with Jamal Adams gone. On the defense, he has interest in coming back for some reason through all this. He was here in Gase. He was here with Bowles. He's seen it all with the Jets. He's interested in coming back, so I think that's a no-brainer. You use some of that cap to get him back. You get Joe Thuney. And then you look at the receiver. There's some guys out there. Allen Robinson's been linked to the Jets a bunch. He's doing that social media troll. He's liking all these like Robert Saleh tweets, getting Jets fans excited. Another guy that's a really good fit for the scheme is Curtis Samuel. He's a really good fit for that Shanahan offense. He can go over the field. He's a speed demon. So I think that's an interesting fit. Those are some basic needs just to start off. But yeah, as you said, this team needs an absolute overhaul. There's a lot they need, little they don't.
No, yeah. I mean, I think you summed it up perfectly. And you just look at it. I think cornerback's a big thing. I think Richard Sherman is a guy that can come up in there. I know he loves what Salah's doing, and he was a defensive coordinator with the 49ers, and Sherman's he said about Watson, you should come here, which is he's a free agent. So they're like, oh, he obviously can, go with the Jets. And I don't think that's going to be a huge contract. Obviously, Sherman has had his injury issues, obviously age is now getting up there, but that's a guy, in a really young secondary, he's a player you would like to have. And obviously with the Jets having those 2 first-round picks, a guy like J.C. Horn, who was great with South Carolina, and he's a guy that I think you put him and Sherman together. I think you got a nice little duo there. And your safeties, I think Marcus Maye re-signing him is going to be big. The wide receiver, I agree. I think Allen Robinson, I think he's the main guy here. That I think if the Jets can get him, that's a solid number 1 receiver. I think the Giants may also want him, which we'll get into later. Even the other guys, I wouldn't throw money at a guy like Juju or like a Will Fuller type. I don't think the Jets really would. It would kind of be like an old Jets move, I feel like, to get Juju, but I don't think it will come to fruition. But that's just kind of where I can see this team definitely signing. You talk about the cap space and all that stuff. A lot of these teams are going to have to maneuver to get under the cap, and they're going to just try to retain their own players. And the Jets are going to be, to me, one of those few teams, if the Johnsons do want to spend it, that they can go out and fill some holes, and probably at a cheaper price, because if a lot of teams don't have money, then the players won't have that much money to get. So I think that's something for the Jets that definitely is good for them. And it'll be interesting because you got the draft picks and you have the cap space. And I feel like the Jets have had that for a while, but nothing has really come into fruition for it.
Yeah, really quickly. The reason I bring up Curtis Samuel is because I think he's a way cheaper option than Allen Robinson right now.
Oh, yeah.
And so when you look at, the Jets, obviously, it's unrealistic in the NFL to say they're going to get the best guard on the market. They're going to get the best receiver. They're going to bring Sherman in. That's just not how it works. You have to save some dollars somewhere. And I said with the scheme earlier, that's why I think Curtis Samuel is a perfect fit. Obviously, Allen Robinson's a monster, and I'd love to have him. But if I'm being realistic, you're not going to spend top dollar every single position in the NFL.
No, yeah, for sure. And I mean, Samuel, I mean, he was playing at the NFC South, so I know a lot about him. I mean, the Panthers, they lined up on all sorts of places. And I mean, at a certain point when McCaffrey was out, he was playing running back too. I mean, he was doing everything. And he's a guy that, playing in that Joe Brady system, which is, spread him out. He was a guy that Teddy Bridgewater really relied on. I think the majority of his catches were on third down, which is great to see. And he's a guy with sure hands. So, I mean, he's a guy that would definitely be a quality add. And you're right. You don't win in free agency in football. It's going to have to be through the draft. And the Jets, hey, I mean, they got the ammo to do it. Now they just got to go out and do it.